Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga Matchday 27. And what a surprise, Radek. We have Bayern Munich back on top of the table with Thomas Tuchel on the bench. How are you, Radek?
I'm good. I hope you too. And so surprising, I don't know. It was a really good game of Bayern Munich and a really bad game of Dortmund. So I think, again, the championship is decided and we have some game days left where the other teams competing for European spots. And it's very interesting what happens in the lower areas of the standings.
Indeed, but be careful. We have a great match day. This one, we have Borussia Dortmund, Union Berlin, and Freiburg, Bayern Munich. So the top four teams are fighting against each other. Let's analyze, Radek, as always, all the games. So, guys, remember, as always as well, leave your comments, press the like, and subscribe. And this time, we don't have a game on Friday. The first games we have is on Saturday, Augsburg, Cologne. Both are far from the relegation spots right now, and both are coming from draws. Actually, Radek, by the way, we saw 4 draws in our previous match day. For this game, also, the bookies think we will see a draw between Augsburg and Cologne. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to name a winner in this game, as everything you said. But remember that Augsburg had really good results playing at home. And they managed to make a draw at Wolfsburg, which was kind of unlikely because they're not the best away team. But if you watch the last results of Augsburg, they really had good results. And they scored 3 times against Bayern Munich. They now have a German national striker with Berisha, who made his debut against Peru or Belgium, one of them. And so Augsburg really has a good run, and Cologne is kind of going down some bit, and they again missed to score goals against Frankfurt in the last game, I think. And so I think against Mönchengladbach. And I think the better thing is to go for Augsburg here, as they have the home advantage. And I don't know why they are the team with the higher odds with 2.9 here, as Cologne has really no argument or no point that they can win this game. And so Augsburg Asian handicap 0 is 2.0.
All right, we go for Augsburg then.
I go for that.
Let's go for Augsburg then in our first game, Asian Handicap 0. In your opinion, then let's talk about Leverkusen, Frankfurt. This is a good one. Leverkusen, the most informed team in the Bundesliga. Now they are close to the European spots. 4 consecutive victories. Last one, 3-0 away against Schalke. Whereas for Frankfurt, also they have to keep an eye on the cup, Radek, and they are about to drop from the European spots. They are not playing the Champions League anymore, but they are not getting the points. 5 winless games in the Bundesliga for Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, it seems like they have some crisis after quitting the Champions League. Nothing special in Frankfurt, and they lost their momentum, which they had, and that they are still in good positions is just because every team is making a lot of mistakes in this area of the standings. It's so narrow and close together. As we've seen in the last games, Leverkusen is now back and has the potential and the chance to go to the international spots, and they're playing at home against a not so great Frankfurt. That's why they are pretty clear favorite with odds of 1.9. And that's the problem, as we often had the situation that Leverkusen might be a favorite or might be on a good run, and then they are disappointed. And so you really can't trust Leverkusen really good. And I'm aware of betting on them. That's why I would say I would say that they might have some problems here with Frankfurt, and at the end, I won't bet on Frankfurt. I won't bet on Leverkusen. What shall we do? Betting on a good draw with odds of 3.9 around, and yeah, hope for the best.
You go for the surprise, by the way. If Leverkusen win this game, they will be in European spots already in position 6, because Frankfurt right now, they have only 1 point more than Leverkusen. Great end of or second part of the season for Leverkusen. By the way, the week after this one, of course, they will play also Europa League against Union Saint-Gilloise, the quarterfinals of this competition, and everything is very narrow, as you said. Also in the Champions League spots, we have Dortmund, Union Berlin. What a game. Second against third. Dortmund, we mentioned at the beginning, they lost their Klassiken because they committed so many mistakes. We just have to see the tremendous mistake made by the goalkeeper 𝐿𝐭𝐽. But when they play at home, Radek, they are very reliable. The last 7 home games were victories. In the Bundesliga, would you go for them to win at home against and bounce back? The problem as well are the odds, no? Only 1.6 for Dortmund to win.
Yes, that's the problem, and I would say yes, for sure. They are a good home team, and they can beat everyone besides Bayern Munich at home, and maybe even Leipzig, but they should win against Union Berlin, as Union Berlin is not the best away team. They collect the most of their points at home as well. And Dortmund especially is a very good home team for years, and have the best audience in the league, with about 70,000 people in their stadium in each game. And yeah, it's hard to collect points there. But unfortunately, the odds are really bad after Dortmund showing one of the worst games of them I've ever seen. And that can be kind of a game changer for Dortmund in a negative way. And I hope Union Berlin will keep on going what they did in the last weeks and months. And they had a home win against Frankfurt, which was awesome. They beat Stuttgart 3-0. They don't concede a lot of goals in the league. So after all, I think, Union Berlin Asian handicap +1 with odds around 1.9 is I like best here. But yeah, we have to consider that Union Berlin is playing in a cup game on Tuesday, and they're playing at Frankfurt. But on the other hand, Dortmund has the same problem. They're playing at Leipzig. So I think maybe Dortmund even has the tougher game. After losing against Bayern Munich, they face to get out the cup against Leipzig, and then they are really disappointed by themselves, and that's the chance for Union Berlin to not lose higher than 1 goal. If they lose with 1 goal, we get our money back. Everything else means we win this bet on Asian handicap +1 at Union Berlin.
It's a key week for Dortmund. Almost every season is the same. They were first in the Bundesliga. They lost their Klassiken. Then they have the tough quarterfinals in the cup against Leipzig, and then another tough game at home in the Bundesliga and against Union Berlin. A crucial week for Dortmund. The same, of course, for Bayern Munich. This is a tough game as well for Tuchel's men against Freiburg. Also, Bayern, they are involved in the cup, and actually they are playing against Freiburg in the cup. We are doing this video on Tuesday, so we don't know what is happening against Freiburg, but only 4 years after, Radek, they have to play in the Bundesliga. We know that Freiburg is a very strong team as well. Only 1 defeat this season playing at home, and we saw some touches of Tuchel in his first game with Bayern Munich. They played with 4 defense. We saw Müller also closer to the goal, and they are facing Manchester City away in the following week. Tough calendar for Tuchel.
Yes, and I, to be honest, I expected also Bayern to win if there would have been a coach like you and me, or someone who's not even into football. So I think the players are good enough in games when it comes to the point. Bayern is kind of unbeatable in the German league. So yeah, and Tuchel only had 3 days, so I don't know if there's such a big impact of Tuchel in the first game. I expected that they don't get goals, and the 2 goals they get against Dortmund really were some. One was a penalty, the other one was yeah, kind of brilliant goal, or they didn't want to defend because it didn't matter in the last minutes. So yeah, the thing Tuchel does or did in Chelsea was that he had a really good defense, and he wanted to do that at Bayern as well. And we have the same thing with Freiburg. So Freiburg is also very good defending. And we have a very interesting situation as Bayern is playing against Freiburg at home in the Cup on Tuesday and going to Freiburg 4 days later on Saturday. And we have kind of first game, second game. So yeah, I would say both games could be close, or at least one can be clearer. But as Freiburg is a very good home team, I think they get out of the cup with a maybe 3-0 loss at Munich, but then come back at home and manage to make a draw against Bayern Munich at home, maybe a 1-1, maybe 0-0. But at the end, I expect not a lot of goals in this Bundesliga game. And we have 2 options here: betting on under 3 goals. We get odds of 1.9. But to be honest, in a Bayern Munich game, this is really dangerous, as we've seen against Dortmund, where I expected the same, and at the end we had 6 goals. So that's not the smartest thing to do, to be honest, against Freiburg. But after all, I expect Freiburg to fight hard at home, and I hope that they manage to grab a draw. And the odds for a draw are 4.9, and I go for that because the odds on a Bayern win are too low, and after Dortmund win, I think they might a bit underrate Freiburg, or they won't be 100% into collecting points after they had a cup game against them. So a lot of psychology in this game, and at the end, I hope that Freiburg is not losing, as they are really a great team.
Well, you are going for surprises in this match day. Freiburg Bayern, in your opinion, the odds for the draw are good one. By the way, if we check the head-to-head between these 2 teams, almost against every team in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich are very dominant in the head-to-head, but against Freiburg in the last game, they beat them 5-0. In the reverse fixture, and also last season, Bayern Munich won 1-4 in Freiburg. So let's see what happens in this Bundesliga game. And talking about Tuchel in Bayern Munich, let's talk about Mainz. Tuchel was former Mainz coach. Now they are in great form. Mainz, they are playing at home against Werder Bremen. Surprisingly, they beat Leipzig 3-0, playing away. This is a massive result, but they are really informed. Radek, no defeats in the last 7 Bundesliga games, and Werder Bremen also, they are in a very comfortable situation, but they are not getting the results. They lost even to Hoffenheim in the previous game. That's why we can see Mainz really favorites for this game.
Yes, and this is kind of unnatural that you have a very low odd on Mainz, even if they are really in a great run. And interesting thing is that we have 3 coaches in the league which are or were coaches of Mainz, with Sandro Schwarz of Hertha, who was a former coach and player of Mainz. the Thomas Tuchel was also coach of Mainz, and for sure the actual Mainz coach Bo Svensson was player and coach of Mainz, and the most famous Mainz coach ever, Jürgen Klopp. So Mainz is really an interesting club if it comes to build great coaches. And in this game, yeah, the odds are too low to bet on Mainz, and I have a personal rule: never bet on odds under 2.0, especially on teams who are not really great favorites like Mainz. And in this situation, I can't bet on them, even if I would like to. And I would say in a tipping game, Mainz should win this maybe closely. But the most value here again, I know that someone or maybe some people don't understand why I bet on draws and misunderstand this with I don't have a clue. My clue is just betting on value, and draw has the most value most of the times, as you get really high odds for a probability of about 30%. For 30%, you have to get odds of 3.3. And if you get higher odds on a draw, it's kind of a sure bet in the end, or kind of a value bet. And that's why in this game, Werder Bremen is not, they have chances to make a point, and the odds are 4.0. That's why I go for a draw here as well.
All right, 4 draws we saw in the previous match day. Let's see in this one, so many surprises.
And I predicted 3 of them right, and so yeah, draw happen sometimes, and this is the beauty of football. You don't have to pick a winner if there is no winner, maybe.
Let's see in the next one, because this one is tricky. We have Hertha Leipzig. Of course, Hertha trying to stay away from the relegation spots. Right now they are in playoff spots, going to Bundesliga 2. They got an important draw against Freiburg, but at home is where they are getting good results. They won 2 and drew 1 in the last 3 games. And for Leipzig, Radek is what we think it can happen also to Borussia Dortmund, for instance. They completely switch off. It's very difficult to understand what is going on with them. As I mentioned, they lost to Mainz 3-0. 4 defeats in the last 5 games. For instance, they lost to Bochum only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this was something unexpected, that Leipzig is completely off the roll, and maybe the Champions League loss against Man City with 7-0 kind of, destroyed their self-confidence. But in this situation, maybe it's good that they get a opponent like beat very high, as we've seen in the past. In 2022, last season, Leipzig had 2 games against Hertha. At Hertha, they won 6-1, and at home they won 6-0. So like of a high tennis win for them against Hertha in both games. This season, they only won 3-2 at home. Okay, but I think Leipzig has the quality, and they should bounce back in this game, and they should win this game. The thing I mentioned before, that they have to face Dortmund in a cup game at home, but I also expect them to play a good game at home against Dortmund. Maybe they even advance to the next round. So this can be the turnaround for them, and then I think they might beat Hertha as everyone expects. And the odds are not really good. They are okay for a Leipzig win with 1.65, but I would go for the Asian handicap -1 in a single bet on Leipzig, which gives us odds of 2.0.
Well, the head-to-head between these 2 teams, as you've mentioned, is crazy. In the last 10 games played, Leipzig won 9, and there was only 1 draw. So the head-to-head is really favorable for Leipzig, also including, as you said, 2-6-1 in Berlin and 6-0 at home. You go for Asian handicap -1 for Leipzig, and we still have 3 more games on Sunday. Gladbach, Wolfsburg, two teams that are doing a very poor season. I think we expected much more from them, being closer to the European spots, but they are in the middle of the table, especially Gladbach, 2 consecutive draws for them, no victory since they beat Bayern Munich. Wolfsburg, they are getting better at least, but they couldn't beat Augsburg in the last game.
Yeah, but we have completely different situations here as we watched the last 5 games. Gladbach, as you said, didn't win against after winning against Bayern Munich 5 games in a row, 3 losses, 2 draws, only 2 points out of 5 games. You expect more of a team which beats Bayern Munich. On the other hand, Wolfsburg, completely different, didn't lose for 5 games now, 2 victories, 3 draws, so collected way more points than Gladbach. But in this situation, yeah, we just have to concentrate on the odds. I would have expected, because of the trends, that Wolfsburg is the underdog with lower odds, but that's not the case. That's why I find value on the Wolfsburg side here, betting on Asian handicap, plus 0.25. That means if there's a draw, we win half of our bet, and the odds are 1.8. And Wolfsburg should continue their streak, and Gladbach, if there's a draw, they prove that they are good at home. And at the end, Wolfsburg seems to be a bit better at the moment.
And the last 2 games are very important for the relegation battle. We have Bochum, Stuttgart. I think no one could have believed in Bochum, Radek, that in December that they could be right now 4 points above relegation. They are doing a great second part of the season. In the last games, for instance, they drew with Frankfurt. They beat Leipzig and Cologne, so they are in great form, and now they are playing the bottom of the table. Stuttgart, 1 draw, 4 defeats in the last 5 games. The last defeat was against Union Berlin, 3-0.
And they fired their coach now, Bruno Labbadia. And Stuttgart also is playing in a cup game now against maybe the worst team in the last 8 teams in the cup, Nürnberg, second league team. And so unfortunately for Bruno Labbadia, because he could have advanced to the semi-final in the cup with Stuttgart, which would be a great success. But in the league, he failed to collect points. Besides, Stuttgart had really great results, but they always, lost very closely against good teams. I think the problem of Stuttgart is not the quality, it's just the schedule, because in a bulk, they had really tough opponents to play where you don't expect them to collect points. But against opponents like Bochum, they should collect points in my eyes. But on the other hand, Bochum proved that they are really home-strong and really dangerous, winning against Leipzig and Cologne, really good results of Bochum. That's why I think after firing Labbadia, it's not getting better at Stuttgart. Now they have Sebastian Hoeneß, the nephew of famous Uli Hoeneß, who's been coach at Hoffenheim, but he was sacked at Hoffenheim the year before. I think he didn't prove that he's a great coach in the Bundesliga, so I think it's not really an improvement for Stuttgart so far, and I don't believe in trainer effects that there is a new coach and the team is completely different because there's no proof for that in the stats of the history. We have sometimes the case that a coach wins the first game or turns around something, but this is very, very rare, and that's why people, if it happens, think, oh yeah, another coach effect. But most of the time, I think there is no coach effect, or maybe even a negative effect, as the team is already kind of
not working,
in trouble, and then they have to arrange with another coach, and so long story short, I think Bochum is continuing their good run because they are doing great work with their coach, who was really great, and they're playing at home. So my favorite bet is Bochum Asian handicaps plus 0.25. The odds are 1.8 here.
Well, we see so many coaches being fired in the Bundesliga that, of course, most of the times they don't get a lot of improvements. For instance, Schalke is a team that they've changed so many times manager. The last game is Hoffenheim. Schalke, also very important for the relegation battle, with the home team now breathing a little bit after beating Werder Bremen, whereas Schalke, Radek, they are back into the relegation spots after the defeat 3-0 against Leverkusen. It's over their unbeaten run, 8 games unbeaten for Schalke.
Yeah, was kind of, we all waited for the end of their streak because it was kind of unreal. And on the other hand, Hoffenheim now, won 2 games in a row and now is out of the relegation spots. You don't have to forget that Hoffenheim was last in the standings, and now they just won 2 games and now they are 15th. So you see how bad everyone down below is, that 1 or 2 wins can lift you up so fast. And also Schalke had a lot of games in a row not losing. They are still in huge trouble. So speaking about the coach effect, we've seen that Thomas Reis at Schalke didn't bring such a big improvement, as they are still on position 17. They didn't lose a lot of games, but at the end, the problem is you only get 3 points if you win the games. On the other hand, Hoffenheim also switched their coach, and there was no really big improvement, as well as they went down to the last spot. And so we really have no clue about this game, but the recent games show alike that we have a cross in the trends here. Hoffenheim is getting better. They're also playing at home, so the win for Hoffenheim pays 2.0. That's a better thing than hoping that Schalke might collect something there.
Okay, you go for Hoffenheim to win. Now the difference between Hoffenheim and Schalke is 4 points, so a win for Hoffenheim will be massive. The opposite, we can say, for Schalke. They need the points. Very interesting, the Bundesliga, for the title, for the Champions League, also for the relegation battle. These are Radek's tips in this special week of Easter, also in Germany. Radek, which one is your safe bet for this match day?
Yeah, it's a very tough game day where I expect a lot of close games, maybe surprisings, because we have the cup games in front of this game day. And after all, I think Leipzig is bouncing back. It's just a kind of a feeling, because they have the quality, they have the coach. And on the other hand, Hertha had some problems. And that's why my best bet is Leipzig win at Berlin with 1.6. And maybe even better.
Yeah, even better, 1.65. And your ACCA?
Combining this Leipzig win with 2 other games, not going for the big one this game day. And I think the best thing is that Wolfsburg and Bochum are not losing. So both bets with Asian handicap plus 0.25 with odds of 1.8. So if there's a draw in these 2 games, we also win half of the odd. And so we have bigger chances to win this ACCA. Altogether, we have odds of 5.3. I think this is not bad.
Okay, Radek, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Just remember, of course, to press the like button if you enjoy our videos. And, of course, subscribe. See you, Radek. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.